Hello everyone, we are going to start with another question of performance measurement, right? In This is basically a recorded version of the last lecture because there was some problem in the recording version. So I just thought of making of this having a recorded version of the same class, right? So let's start with this question. Now, why this question is important? Because this question has a link between. This shows a link between how non-financial indicators can be linked with the financial indicators, right? I mean, there can be a situation when the cost is more than what we were expecting. Yeah, cost is more as compared with the previous year, but it's beneficial for the company because non-financial indicators are showing some favorable result, or there may be some cost saving, but non-financial indicators are showing some adverse result. So we need to create a connection between these two, right? So this is a good example of that. Let's start with this. The accountancy teaching company is a company specializing in the provision of accountancy tuition courses in this private sector. It makes up accounts to 30th November each year. In the previous year, 30th November 2009, it held 60% of the market share, right? However, over the last, that means what? That means company is the market leader, right? If a company has 60% market share, it's a market leader. However, over the last 12 months, accountancy tuition market in general has faced a 20% decline in demand for accountancy training, leading to smaller class sizes on courses. In 2009, before 80 companies suffered from an ongoing problem with staff retention, which had a knock-on effect on the quality of services provided to students following the completion of development. They have been ongoing for some times. In 2010, the company was able to offer a far improved service to the students. So what the issue was along with the staff retention and some other quality issues. So company was developing some services from last few years, and that is probably in 2010 company was able to offer a far improved services. Because of that, the development included a new dedicated 24-hour helpline, student helpline, an interactive website providing instant support to students, a new training program for staff, an electronic student enrollment system, an electronic marking system for the marking of students' progress test, right? So these were the few services which has been launched in 2010. The cost of marking electronically were expected to be 4 million less in 2010 than marking on paper, and that makes sense because whenever you check things online, it will cost less. I mean, there will be no paper expenditure, less paper, less clerical work. So it's more simple. Marking expenditure is always included in cost of sales. This means what? This means that what we are expecting now, we are expecting that 2000 cost of sales of 2010 is will be 4 million less as compared with 2009. This is basically the expectation which we have developed from this. Now, this is the profit and loss account which is given in the question, right? Say there's a turnover has been reduced, and then GP increased, and then few expenses in the net profit, right? Now, what the question says next, on 1st December 2009, that means this is the start of 2010. Management asked all freelance lecturers to reduce their fee by at least 10% with the immediate effect. Freelance lecturers are not employees of the company but are used to teach students when there are not enough of 80 companies' own lecturers to meet tuition need. That is a kind of traditional visiting faculty thing. I mean, whenever permanent faculty got filled, then definitely we go for the visiting faculty option. So that is basically what we mean by this. All employees were, so what the accountancy AAT company did is they asked their freelance lecturer to reduce their fee by at least 10%, by at least 10% आपने reduce करनी है, right? By the with the immediate effect. All employees were also told that they would not receive a pay rise for at least 1 year. So probably this is for the normal traditional workers. Total lecturer staff cost, including freelance lecturer, were 41.663 million in 2010. This is the total lecturer staff cost, and were included in the cost of sales. Now, lecturing cost is also included in cost of sales. As is always the case, freelance lecturer cost represents 35% of these total lecture staff costs, right? In 2010, freelance lecturer costs were 12.394 million, right? So this is basically something which is actually related to the freelance lecturer. No reduction was made to course prices in the year and mix of trainings. If you have already if you are done with the reading of this question, then you may skip this paragraph part, because I asked you guys to read this at home, but I don't know if you have read this or not, because obviously there is a difference between online and the normal class. So if you haven't read that, you can continue with this, else you may skip this part. No reduction was made to course prices in the year, and the mix of trainees studying for a different qualification remained the same. The same type and number of courses were run in both 2009 and 10, and the percentage of these courses that was run by freelance lecturer as opposed to employee staff also remained the same due to the nature of the business non-financial indicators. Acha. Till here, there are so many things that the question say that remain same. Why? Because you see, if there is a decrease in revenue, right, then one may say that look, there are chances that company is now offering less price course or less costly price course with a low fee in a higher proportion, right? Or maybe company is has changed the mix of student of courses, so nothing has been done, right? So these are the assumptions which the question is saying, that if someone thinks like that, nothing has happened in 2010 as such. Due to the nature of the business, non-financial performance indicators are also used to assess performance as detailed below. Non-financial indicators are given. Now it's very important to read these, because these have a connection with the financial indicators. Percentage of students transferring to AT company from another training provider, 8% in 2009, that has been increased to 20% in 2010. Number of late enrollments due to staff error was 297 in 2009, that has been reduced to 106. And then percentage of student passing exam first time, 48% to 66%, that is also an improvement. Labor turnover ratio 32% to 10%, complaints 33 and 15 to 84, and average employees being remain the same. So non-financial indicators shows that the company actually improved, right? Now, what is the requirement? Requirement is very important. Assess the performance of the business in 2010 using both financial and non-financial financial performance indicators calculated from the above information and non-financial performance indicators provided. Note, clearly state any assumptions and show all workings clearly. Your answer should be structured around the following main headings: turnover, cost of sales, GP, indirect expenses, and net operating profit. However, in discussing each of these areas, you should also refer to the non-financial performance indicators where relevant, right? It's not necessary to always link financial with non-financial. You may link where you think that is relevant, right? So this is basically a brief introduction of this question, right? So what we analyzed in the last few classes, that first of all we have to start from a percentage change in turnover, right? So let's start with that. All right. Let's see what we have here. Percentage change in turnover is okay. It's 72,025 minus 66,028 divided by 72025. That makes around 8.3%. So percentage decrease in sales revenue is 8.3%, right? Uh, it seems bad if if revenue has been decreased during a period by 8.3%. It seems that company didn't perform well, right? This is basically what we think normally. But you may pause this video and try to think for a while that whether this is actually a bad performance by the company. You may pause this video and think. Now, despite of the fact that revenue has been decreased by 8%. There is a 8% decrease in revenue. Still, company performed well. And why we are saying so? Why we are saying such thing? Because there was a 20% decline in the demand for accountancy training leading to a smaller class sizes on courses. So there was a 20% decline in accountancy profession, right? That means what? That means my 2010 sales should be 20% less as compared with 2009. But actually, that was not. That just reduced by 8%. That means what? That means practically market share has been increased. That is basically what we have already seen in market size and market share variances in variances classes, right? So apparently, it seems that company didn't perform well, but actually company performed well because despite of 20% reduction in the overall market size, still company managed to perform well, right? And why this happened? This happened because company probably because company introduced um, some new facilities, some new services to the students. So that can be the case, right? Then let's move to cost of goods sold. Then the next thing which we do is let's move to GP. Next thing we start with the gross profit percentage, right? GP is always considered as a percentage of sales, right? We don't calculate change in GP. We rather calculate percentage GP as a percentage of turnover, right? So in 2009 and in 2010, let's see what actually happened. Sorry. GP percentage in 2009 is 19947 divided by 72025. 27.69. 27.69, 27.7. 27.7% was the GP in 2009, right? Now, in 2010, it was 23972 divided by 66028. That makes 36.3, right? So GP was GP was 36.3%. That shows what? That shows increase in GP. 36.3 minus 27.7, that makes around 8.6. 8.6% GP increased by 8.6%. That means what? That means cost of goods sold has been decreased by 8.6%, right? Now, अब चलें, अब मैं थोड़ी उर्दू में भी बात कर लूँ. देखिए, अब इशू क्या है? इशू ये है कि यहाँ पे दो किस्म के बच्चे होते हैं. एक तो वो बच्चे होते हैं जो कहते हैं कि भाई 8.6% है और बस जीपी हमारा बढ़ गया, कॉस्ट ऑफ गुड्स सोल्ड हमारा कम हो गया. दैट्स फाइन, वो आगे बढ़ जाते हैं. But as I said in the previous class that see this is a kind of this is a kind of murder mystery, right? एक बंदे का मर्डर हो गया, अब आप वहाँ जाते हैं, अब आप वहाँ जाके इन्वेस्टिगेशन शुरू करते हैं कि भाई ये मर्डर हुआ, ये वेपन मिला हमें, ये सबूत मिले, ये उसके सामने इसके लोग हैं, क्या हुआ क्या नहीं हुआ. सिचुएशन हर दफ़ा डिफरेंट होती है. यू हैव टू एनालाइज दो सिचुएशन. आप जितनी गहराई में जाएंगे, जितनी डेप्थ में जाएंगे, आपको उतना समझ में आएगा कि परफॉर्मेंस ऐसी क्यों हुई, right? That's the main problem. So if someone says that okay fine GP gross profit बढ़ गया, cost of goods sold कम हो गया और आप आगे चले गए, आपने further investigation नहीं की, तो इसका मतलब ये है कि ये तो अगर मैं इंटर के भी किसी बच्चे को बोलूँ तो वो भी रेशो अप्लाई करके वो यही बताएगा मुझे, तो फिर फ़ायदा क्या हुआ उसमें और आप में फ़र्क क्या हुआ? कुछ भी नहीं. तो मुझे अब इस चीज़ के डेप्थ में जाना है कि एक्चुअली कॉस्ट ऑफ गुड्स सोल्ड अगर 8.6% से कम हुआ है तो उसका रीज़न क्या है? व्हाट इज़ द रीज़न मेनली, राइट? उसका रीज़न जो है वो हमें दो चीज़ों में नज़र आता है. I mean there is a I mean there can be 4% decrease in expected decrease in marking. There was a marking cost which we are expecting that could have been the reason why cost of goods sold in 2010 was less as compared with the previous year. And then freelance lecturer cost, which has been mentioned in this paragraph that a company asked the freelance lecturer to reduce their cost by 10%, right? See, now what we are going to do, let me do this first and then I will let you know the reason why I'm doing this, right? All right. देखिए, कॉस्ट ऑफ गुड सोल्ड यहाँ पे अच्छा, कॉस्ट ऑफ गुड सोल्ड पहले मैं निकाल लूँ कितना है। 100 minus 27.7%, that makes 72.3%. That means cost of goods sold in 2009 was 72.3%, and 36.3 minus 100 is 63.7. So this will be 63.7%, right? So cost of goods sold in 2009 was 72.3. In 2010, this is 63.7, right? What we have to investigate, we have to investigate this decrease, right? Just a second, I think there's something. All right. So now what we have to do, we have to actually investigate the reason of this decrease, right? So I'm going to do just one thing. Let's see. I don't know how many of you can understand this issue. Let's calculate this 72.3% of this 66,028, right? 66,028 times 0.723, that makes 47738, right? 47738. Now what does this figure is, what this figure is actually representing, right? This figure is actually representing that if company continue with the same cost of sales percentage, I mean, if there is no reduction in cost of sales percentage, then cost of goods sold would have been 47,738. But because of the efficiency or whatever company steps company actually took, the cost of goods sold percentage is actually 42,056. So that shows what? That shows minus 42056. That shows actually a saving of 5682.244. We can again ignore that. Now, there was a question in the class that why we haven't considered this decrease. I mean, there was a decrease in 10,000 in cost of goods sold. So why we haven't considered this? Because see, the answer is very simple. The logic is very simple. This cost of goods sold actually belong to this sales revenue. I mean, इतना sales होगा तो इतनी cost of goods sold होगी. अगर आपकी सेल्स कम होती है तो जाहिर सी बात है आपकी कॉस्ट ऑफ गुड सोल्ड भी कम होगी, ठीक है? तो हमें ये देखना है कि अगर एग्जैक्टली वही परसेंटेज 66,000 पे होता तो मेरी क्या कॉस्ट होती? मेरी कॉस्ट होती 5,000,5,682,000, राइट? सॉरी, मेरी कॉस्ट होती 47,038 की. But the actual cost during the period was 42,056. That means that company actually saved $5,682, $5,682,000, right? So this is basically actually the saving, right? Now what we have to investigate, why that, I mean, what is the reason behind the saving? What is the factor behind the saving? Why, how company actually saved, right? So let's reread this paragraph and let's try to identify anything which anything, right? Now it says on 1st December 2009, the management asked all freelance lecturers to reduce their fee by at least 10% with immediate effect, right? Then it says all employees were also told that they would not receive a pay rise for at least 1 year. Total staff lecturer cost, including freelance lecturer, were 41663 million in 2009 and were included in cost of sales, right? So that means what? That means out of 52,078, right? Out of this figure, in 2009, 41,663 was actually related to total lecturer cost, right? Uh, and that is the part of cost of sales which we are actually investigating. As is always the case, freelance lecturer costs represent 35% of these total staff lecturer cost. So freelance lecturer cost is 35%, right? So 41663 times 0.35, that makes around 14,582. So this actually represent what was the freelance lecturer cost, right? And what then it says? It says that in 2010, freelance lecturer costs were 12,394 million. In 2010, it says that freelance lecturer cost was 12394, right? So freelance lecturer cost actually reduced by how much? Minus 12394 2188, that actually reduced by $2,188, right? So if I want to investigate this 5,682 million, that means 2188 saving has been through the freelance lecturer cost, right? um Now what is the role of this 10%? See, what the saving we were expecting. We were expecting that 14,582 times 10% is 1458. So actually we were expecting that 14582 times point 0.9, we were expecting that lecture cost will be around 13124 in 2010. We were expecting this figure. But instead of having 13 million cost, we actually had a cost of 12 million. So that means instead of having 1458 saving, we actually saved $2188. That means what? That means the actual saving is $730, $730,000 more than what we were expecting, right? So that means what? That means how what we can interpret now is all right. So this was the total saving, right? Out of this saving, 2188 saving is due to the freelance lecturer cost, right? And out of this 2188 saving, we 1458 was the expected saving, and 730 is some unexpected saving that has been done because of some factor we really don't know. So this is an unexpected savings, right? Now what is left out of 5682? 5682 minus 2188, that makes around 3494. So now we have to investigate that what is the reason behind $3494 saving. I mean, what is the factor behind this saving, right? So let's come to another part, another area where which question actually focus. It says an electronic marking system for marking of student progress tests, the cost of marking electronically were expected to be 4 million less in 2010 than marking on paper, right? So it says that we were expecting that cost will be 4 million less in 2010 as compared with marking on with as compared to 2009. Now, what can be interpretation? There can be two school of thought at this particular point of time. The first school of thought can be we were expecting 4 million saving, but actual saving was not exactly 4 million. We were unable to save as much as we were expecting, and we made just saving of $3494. I mean $3,494,000, right? So we actually saved 3494. Sorry, we actually saved 3494 as compared with 4000. There is one theory like this, right? What can be the another theory? Another theory can be I mean there कोई बच्चा और ये भी लिख सकता है कि जी we actually made a saving. I mean, company made a saving of $4 million, but there was some other cost that increased during the same period, so that made a net impact of 3494. So you may continue with whatever theory you have, but we have to explain this cost of goods sold part, because if we leave this part unexplained, then that means we have left a major thing unanswered, right? So we have to do this, right? Now let's move to the next part. What else do we have? If you couldn't understand this part, you may, I mean, rewatch this video. It's simple, it's very easy. Now We are done with turnover, we are done with cost of sales, we are done with GP. I mean, if you explain cost of goods sold, you don't have to explain GP. GP is actually result of cost of goods sold. That's very logical. Indirect expenses. Now, what are the indirect expenses? Indirect expenses are these costs, right? These are the indirect expenses, right? So now what we have to do, we have to connect these indirect expenses with any non-financial indicator, right? Let's see if we can connect this. Let's make a connection first, and then uh, okay, let's see. Marketing expenditure was 3291 in 2009, and that has been increased to 4678 in 2010, right? What's the percentage change? See, मैंने एक चीज़ कही थी क्लास में, and I'm repeating that, and I will repeat that again in the next class if we do one more question of this. I don't think we will do one more question of this, but let's see. If there is any expense that increases because of change in sales, for example distribution expense, तो उसका हम परसेंटेज लेते हैं विथ रिस्पेक्ट टू सेल्स, कि भाई ये सेल्स के लिहाज से कितना है. But if there is any expense which is not connected with sales, which is connected to some other activity, then it's illogical uh, to uh, to take a percentage change. I mean, so it's illogical to make a vertical analysis in dividing expenditure with the sales revenue. We cannot do that, right? So here, marketing expenditure is basically a result of. You may pause this video right now, and you may try to develop a link between this part and this part, and then you can continue with me, so that you can come up with some better results, because this portion has been done in live class, and students were able to connect this, right? And you guys are listening the recorded version of this, so you may pause this video right now, and you can make a connection between these two, right? So you may pause this video and make a connection. Now, marketing expenditure. Can we connect marketing expenditure with, I mean, first of all, we have to check what is the percentage change in marketing expenditure. 3291 minus 4678, and it's 42.15%, right? Alternatively, you can divide this 4678 by 3291 as well. 42.14%. Marketing expenditure has been increased by 46%, right? And what's next? Property, we don't need to explain property. It's almost same, right? Staff training cost has been, there's a massive increase in his staff training cost. 3396 divided by 1287, that make around 263. That means 163% increase in staff training cost, right? 163% increase in the staff training cost. And interactive website running cost was not in 2009. Student student helpline running cost was not in 2009, so we cannot obviously make the comparison. Enrollment cost was there. There was a massive change. There's a significant change in enrollment cost, and that makes sense because we have started electronic enrollment or some online enrollment kind of thing. So 5032 minus 960 divided by 5032, that makes around 80 point, approx 81%. Cost has been decreased by 81%, right? So these are the changes, right? Now let's try to connect this with this part, with the second part, right? How can you connect marketing cost? I mean, how can you say that marketing cost was needed, and look, this is why. I mean, मुझे कोई blame दे रहा है कि marketing expenditure बढ़ गया, and I have to defend myself. So how can I defend that? What I will say, I will say, look, there's a logical reason behind increasing in marketing expenditure, because see, we launched these 5 new facilities, right? And in majority there's 1, 2, 3, and probably 4. We don't know what the other people are doing. So we have introduced four major facilities which are actually relating to students, right? So we have to advertise that. If we are not advertising that, that means we are losing an opportunity to grab more and more students, right? So we don't need to advertise as a staff training program. I mean, that is something which you don't need to advertise, but the other facilities you have to advertise, right? So that is the major cause why advertisement expenditure has been increased. And see, we there is a increase in labor in the number of customers, right? So what can be the explanation of these I'm not writing it, I'm just explaining this part. What can be the reason is, I mean, why this marketing expenditure has been increased? Because of two reasons, right? uh, because of one reason, actually, that is introduction of new facilities, new services in the company. And why and how we can justify this expenditure, how we can say that this, whether this is a successful or not successful attempt or not. We can see that there's a 12% increase in the number of students which are transferring from other institutes. And see, if you are converting students of some other institutes to your institute, that means you are actually satisfying them. You are actually, let them believe that we are providing better service as compared with them, with their tuition provider. So actually that needs a lot of marketing, right? So that we can connect, right? So we can say that, okay, look, 646% expenditure has been increased, but this is the reason and this is the result, right? You don't need to explain property, it's a very simple thing. Staff training cost has been increased by 163%. Why staff training has been increased? Because there are few new services which has been launched by the company, and staff needs to learn those facilities, how to work in those facilities, how to serve that facility, the new technology. So that is a much needed requirement, right? And see, and the result is that the staff turnover has been reduced by approximately 22%, which is a significant decrease, right? So that is a result. So that's something which can justify this 163% cost. And see, this is a one time cost, right? If you have already given some training to the staff, you don't have to give them training again and again and again and again. So this is a non recurring cost, this is a one time cost, right? So this is a justifiable expenditure, right? So, and what's the next part? Staff training, interactive website running cost. You may still pause this video and think which course is connected with which activity. All right, interactive website running cost. Interactive website running cost and student helpline cost. And then enrollment cost. Enrollment cost is very easy. Enrollment cost is actually connected with yes, number of late enrollment due to staff error. Right? This is actually connected with this part. Right? So there were 297 late enrollment. Now this is just 106 late enrollment. So that is actually working, and obviously significant reduction in cost. So cost benefit is there, and satisfaction has also been improved. So that's something which is good, which went good in favor of company. Interactive website running cost, that is $3,270 increase. And why and what is the benefit? Benefit is, I just took a pause just to let you guys think. The benefit is that students are actually now passing their papers in first time. I mean, more students are passing their paper first time, right? So that is the result. And student helpline running cost increase, that can reduce, that is that I mean, because of that, labor, sorry, complaints has been reduced by some percentage. So we have to connect this non-financial indicators with the financial. So if we have increased certain expenditure, we also got results. So that means that increase in expenditure actually produce result for the company, right? And then the final profitability percentage. Profitability is 3635 divided by 72025. That makes around 5% profit, I guess, here. right? And then 2106 divided by 66028, that makes 3%, 3.1%. So despite of the fact that the profitability has been reduced in 2010, you don't have to worry about that, because your market share has increased, because 20% decrease in market and your share, and you just reduce your sales by 8%. Sales, I mean, there's no change in prices, so that decrease actually shows that decrease actually is showing the activity decrease. So 8% sales कम हो जाती है और 20% market shrink हो रही है, that means your market share has been improved. So that is a good part. So you don't have to worry about that. In future you will generate cost saving, in the sense the marketing cost will reduce, staff training cost will reduce, interactive website running cost may not reduce, but that I mean that depends how effective this is, but certainly we will see some reduction in these two costs in future as well. So definitely that will help the company to improve the profitability, right? So this is basically the explanation of 20 mark question. The main part was cost of goods sold, because the remaining part was easier, but the main part was to identify what actually happened in cost of goods sold, right? So you may re-watch that part, because that's important, right? Thank you for watching this video. Have a nice day.